So before we start with designing models, let's have first a recap on some very important to call this visualizations that are very significant before we perform modeling, because we can also get insights from this before we proceed to data modeling. Because later on we'll be designing a dashboard where these visualizations should be displayed there in the dashboard together with the model that we have created. Okay, so to start with, before we continue with our what do you call this programming, so we have first to load the different libraries. Okay, I think I asked you already to download those libraries. So let's start with loading all the libraries that we will be using. We will be using the following: cdverse. Okay, we have also the ggplot2 for visualization. And we will be using also caret. Right, so what else? The art part, another for visualization. This one, we will be using this for the RWECA. We'll be using this for data modeling using G48 algorithms later on. And then what else? We have the NNet. Okay, let me check if I have NNet. Yes, NNet is for neural network. Right, so what else? Let's try cluster or clustering. We will be using that later. And the Facto Extra, right? So there's no package, so I have to install that package using tools, install, okay, package from CRAN. Let's try. There we go. All right, so it's there. Let's run. And then uh, another one is the E1071. All right, there is another one that I forgot to install. Okay, this is the what do you call this? The R-pivot table kasi maganda ito eh. And I want you to experience on how to use this kasi mas mabilis siyang gumawa ng mga visualization, mga shortcut ba? Yun ang gagawin natin. Ah, for immediate what do you call this? For immediate visualizations, understanding on what is really going on in our data sets. Okay, so let's load our data. We're done with the libraries. So let's try to load our data. So we have here, it's a CSV file. Okay, so there you go, this one. Then we import. So this is our data. This will be the thing that we'll be working on later on. Okay, so let's go back here. So let's say, let's just uh, assign that to DF as the holder of our data set. We have the EM home survey. Okay, let's first check or try the R pivot table. So really show an immediate visualization other than having a, for example, instead of writing summary, okay, of our DF, okay, as shown here below, the visualization, the outcome of our summaries, the descriptive values here, we can actually visualize it using our pivot table by calling, of course, the R pivot table and then the data sets DF. Okay, can you follow? Can I have a thumbs up there? Right there. So let's wait for the here. So we can actually do, for example, I want it to be shown in table or in count, for example, by count. So, for example, in terms of county, okay, and the African American population. So, it will tally in table, okay, uh, on these particular violations. So, you can actually present that using the following bar plot, okay, sorry, or line chart, or horizontal bar, and so on and so forth. Okay, oh, you can actually do some comparison of the population or white, sorry, horizontal bar plot. So with here, or you can have the sum, the summary. It's up to you on which particular we call this visualization that you want to use, for this purpose. Right? So that's how we utilize our what do you call this? Our R pivot table for immediate visualization. Okay, so let's proceed to the next. Palaki-laki natin ang konti ito dito. Okay, so before we proceed with that, let's start first with NAD visualization. Right? So let's say, for example, I wanted to use a bar plot for our data sets. The AM Survey 2015 assigned to DF as the holder, a shorter version holder of our data set. Say, for example, we wanted to present the top 10 county total population of the violations. Okay, so we can present it using ggplot uh, library through a bar plot. So let's say, for example, we have here the ggplot function df. Then we have our pipe, the top, we will only get 10 of which. Okay, so we have the BW population in the aesthetics. X will be the reorder. Say we will be getting only the top 10, no? County uh BW pop, so BW underscore pop, and then the Y with the BW pop. Okay, let me check. This one. Ito yung wala. Alright, there you go. Okay, and then we have our geom bar. Stat will be the identity. And then we try to fill uh, the values using steel blue, red, or blue. Okay, let's just use steel blue. What else? Of course, the statics of our all this of our um, graph. No, first is of course the coordinate plate, and then we have also the labs. We have the title will be top 10 counties by total population. Then our x coordinate will be the county. Sorry. And then the y will be the total population. Let's just check. There you go. Okay, so we have here our what do you call this? Our data visualization that you can actually write now story or descriptions of this visualization. Okay, so what else that we can do for this purpose? So we have a lot. Um, for example, um, let's try to use a box plot. Okay, displaying the total population of the African American data from our data sets. Still, we'll be using okay, ggplot2. We have here ggplot. Okay, so from DF, the statistics are the following. Of course, y is equals from our black population. Then we have here the geom box plot. We will fill it with color green, for example. Right? Then what else? Of course, the static slabs. We have here title will be box plot of African American population. Okay, so there you go. So we have our box plot here with a specific, we call this specific data from African American population. Okay, so what else? You can actually use the line graph. No, let's try to use line graph. In this case, we will be uh, reordering the data by the FIPS. Okay, going back to our data set, the FIPS reordering it, and then we will use a line graph. So let's say, for example, our new data will be from here. So we will just reorder it. So df um, the order will be, of course, the FIPS. Okay. Then we will use that DF sorted later, so in our ggplot. So we have here DF sorted, the sorted data. The statics be x is equals to FIPS. Y will be the BW population from the sorted one. All right, so by using geom EB line or line graph. So let's try to use color will be dark green one. Okay. Then our data labs title line graph or line plot of the total population by FIPS. Right, do we still have missed here? I think there's none. Okay, there you go. So we have here the line graph, okay, of our data. Okay. Are you still there? Good. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue with our visualization. Another one is the use of violin. Okay. The violin plot. Very interesting din ito. It's the same as the what do you call this? The box plot. It's just more in terms of aesthetics, mas maganda ito para sa akin. Let's try to the violin distribution of the white population. So perform this, we use ggplot. Okay, so we use, of course, our dataset DF statics. The X is wala tayong lalagyan, no? Walang laman siya. And Y coordinate will be all about the white population. Okay. Then we have here the geom violin. Then we fill it with color. Ano pa ng color? Let's say a dark blue. Dark blue. Right? So labs, the title will be violin plot of white population. Did I miss something? I think there's none. Okay, so we have here our violin plot for white population. Okay? Okay ba tayo doon? Alright. So let's continue. What else? How about the dot plot? This is also very interesting. So we have here dot plot. Let's say, for example, the black population. Let's visualize black population. Okay, so ggplot. So we have here df, the statics, and then we have x is equals to, of course, the black population. And then we'll be using the geom dot plot with our bandwidth, say 1000, and then we fill it using dark brown. Dark brown. Oh, there's none. Or dark red. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so the lobs title will be the dot plot of the population. Okay, so something. Okay, so we have here the dot plots. Okay, very, very small. Palakihin natin. And so we have here the dot plots of our black population. Another one that's very interesting that we can use from ggplot is the use of polygon. I don't know if you have tried polygon for distribution of our data, the entire population. So to do this, we have ggplot from our dataset df statistics x is equals to bw population. So we'll be using geom frequency poly bind with wala siya. Bind with, yeah, it's the same as. Yeah. So let's try to use 5,000 data. Color, let's say blue. Then the size will be 1.2. Okay. Let's try to have labs. Title will be polygon plot of total population. See. All right, so that's the polygon plot. So we cannot connect that because the data, I think, do not actually what do you call this? Create a polygon plot. Okay, connected dapat sila here over here. Okay, so let's try palaki-laki natin ng konti. Yan, so medyo ano siya. So lumiliit. So for polygon. So that's the polygon plot. So with that, these are the things that we can do. There are a lot more that you can actually perform visualization to give, what do you call this? If you want to give stories of your, descriptively of your data sets. So that's basically the the use of visualization. So this time we'll be using, of course, data modeling, right? So let's perform data modeling. Okay, so firstly, from our data set, if you will try to examine, especially if we will be performing classification, there is no classes over here though. So what we're gonna have to do is to create a factor variable, converting or creating new data to factor variable. Okay, let's just create a new variable here called the high and uh, factor, okay, between zeros and ones using median as our point of reference. Okay, so let's try to create a binary, outcome, either high or low total population. So using median. Okay, so df, let's convert df, let's say high bw, the total population. Should be up here else if df, the total population bw is greater than the median of df, bw population, the total population, assign it to 1, or else if it is below, we assign it to 0. Okay, and then the df high bw will be converted into a factor variable. Okay, factor variable high bw. Okay, so now if you will try to check, no, let's try to view df. Yeah, so we have a new column here that indicates either high or low in terms of population. So we have two variables, I mean two data now here, binary data for ready for classification. Okay, so here, next is to create a training uh, and testing set or split. Later on, we'll be using this. Okay, so let's say set seed um, 1, 2, 3 for repeatability purposes. Let's say the index is to create the data partition, no, between the df high, uh, the binary that we have created a while ago, no, and then probability of 0.8. So let's say the least will be false. Maybe something like that. So let's run. So we have here train variable will handle the high. I mean the 80%, while the test variable will handle the 20%. Okay. So let's start with we're done with the linear regression, multiple regression. Let's proceed to the logistic regression using this new data. Okay, so we have here, oh, by the way, let's have a recap na lang. A recap of our, what do you call this, of the linear and the multiple regression. So we have here linear regression. So let's say, for example, our LM model 1 for linear model. This is our first model. Okay. So we will be using the LM function for linear model. Let's say, for example, uh, we are going to predict as to the white population based on the black population or the FS. Okay, itong dalawa na lang. Okay, so we have here the white pop and from the black pop. So the data will be coming from the F. Okay, here, oops, pop. Okay, so we have now our new model. Okay, so let's check on the summary of the model. Model 1. Very good. So we have here the intercepts and the value for the block pop. So the alpha and the beta values for our slope and intercept. So we have here uh, y is equals to the call this um, we have here the slope and of course the intercepts. So we could say that if we will try to plot this in the linear model that we have, so we could say y is equals to 1 point, we have here 4 zeros raised to 4. Okay. 272 raised to 4th plus, okay, block times now 1 here, okay, 1 zeros. We have 0.06497, okay, to predict the value of the white population. So we'll notice also in terms of p-values that they are very highly in terms of relationships. Okay, here it's very far from 1, right? Near to 0 sila. All right, so the same if you will be using the general linear model or rather multiple. So let's say model 2, we'll be using the GM, general linear model. Okay, up here the white pop, okay, using more than one data set, so black pop and FIPS. So here the black pop plus the FIPS. Go. Oops, GM, general linear model, for a while. information. Wala pa tayo data. Data from DF. Okay, so we have here summary of our second model. There you go. It's the same interpretation. So y is equals to alpha plus beta times x of 1 plus beta x of 2. So betas are the block population. If PS population, you multiply it with these values. Same here, multiply these values, and the constant here is this one for our multiple regression. Okay, so that's just a review of our previous discussion. All right, so let's proceed to another one, the logistic regression. So here the logistic. So for logistic regression, we'll be using the DF high BW dataset that we have set a while ago. So let's say the logit, this will be our model number 3 for logistic regression. So to perform that, we use the general linear model, okay, using the high BW as our target variable. Then we have here the block variables, block pop. Okay, what else? The white pop variable. So our data will be coming from DF. Okay, so this will be family in terms of binomial. Okay, so it's run. Oops, it's underscore. Oh, there you go. So let's try to perform the summary of our model number 3. All right, there you go. So we have here our model you can use following, of course, the what do you call this? The equation for logistic regression. Okay, so that's the model. All right, so this time we'll be using the a decision tree. Let's proceed to decision tree. We're done with regressions. Firstly, we will be using the classification and regression tree. Okay, so to perform this will be our fourth model. We have our fourth model. We'll be using now the what do you call this? The rpart library. Okay, so rpart. Still, we'll be using the high BW. Since this is a classification. And then, gamitin na rin ito. Let's try to use this. Copy ko na lang siya. Right? So, run. Oops. Wala page. There we go. And then let's try to plot the model. The model number 4. Okay. Where text will be coming from the model number 4. Right, so there you go. So the model, if white population is less than the value here, if it is true, 1. Else, if false, we have here Again, if black population is less than or equal, if true, 1, if false, 0, meaning low or high in terms of population. Okay, so let's try not to include this. So wala tayong makikita ang value. Okay, so that's the cart. Okay, then we have here the J48 algorithm for decision tree. This will be our model number 5. Okay, so we use the Arweka. So J48 function, okay, as a factor variable of the high-low. Okay. Then we have the black population plus the white population. So our data is equals to df. Okay, so let's try to check the summary. Our model number 5. There you go. So the model says that based on the data, we have about like 82 instances from the data that are correctly classified. And there is no instances that is incorrectly classified. Okay. Copy statistics is 1. Okay. And of course, the confusion matrix. Okay. There are 41 correctly classified as low, and there are also 41 correctly classified as false. Sorry, as high. As high. Okay. Uh, try if this can be put into a plot. Plot model number 5. Yeah. So we have the data the visualization. If your white population is less than or equal to this value, okay, else, ganito din. Black population, is it less than or equal to 15498? Okay, if false, dito. If true, over here. Okay. Pag true, dito tayo. If black population is less than or equal to 6576. If false, yeah, dito tayo. Or if true, dito. Ito naman, if true, ito yung kanyang prediction. 1. Okay? The darks are 1, the lighter are 0. Okay, so this is the visualization. This is the performance matrix of our J48 algorithm. Okay, so lastly, last algorithm will be the neural network. So we have here, for example, our model number 6. So still we'll be using that. We'll be using NNet library. So the high-low pa rin. And then we have here the black and the white. Ito. This one here. Kopyahin ko na rin. Okay. And the size. Okay, so we have here it converts the weights 13 initial value, and it actually converts. So let's try to check the summary of our model number 6. Alright, so there you go. So, hindi natin makita na masyado. No? Let's try to plot our model number 6. Sige. Hindi natin makikita, no? Okay. So, let's try to check, no, the plot for this model. Let me install one particular library, the neural network tools. I was not able to introduce this neural net tools. Okay, so I'll be calling that library neural net tools. So let's try to plot here, plot net of our model number 6. There. Okay. So for our data, based on itong mga values na ito. Okay. So the black population, the white population, hilahin natin ng konti. In predicting the population, either high or low population. So the B1 and B2, these are the biases. Okay, the hidden layers. Okay, and of course the input layer. Okay, so that's how we basically implement, no, the model of neural network, right? So that will be all for this class. Thank you very much.